Okay, so in this segment, we're going to be talking about some Downing Street drama regarding this man here, Lee Kane. Lee Kane was the director of communications for Bojo the Wonder Clown. So, what is the director of communications? Communications directors are experts in communication in all of its nuanced forms, from written press releases to speeches. Delivered at public events. They oversee both external and internal communications and manage other staff who work in communications. So this is the man who was responsible for go to work, don't go to work, wash your hands, face space mace, hand space face. I can't remember. Anyways, the genius who basically sent out loads of mixed messages and had no idea what he was doing. Lee Kane. So the director of communications is out, but it's much more than a random resignation. He was Boris Johnson's longest serving aide, so he's been there since the vote leave days, and very close to his most senior advisor, Dominic Cummings. And this is further added to the drama that these two are boys. So his promotion was also being resisted. He was meant to be promoted to chief of staff, which is a high position, but that was met with a lot of resistance. It's understood by the Prime Minister's fiancée, Carrie Symonds, and his incoming spokesperson, Allegra Stratton. And it's not clear why this has happened. I think it's in partly because he's not very good at his job. But I'm not sure overall. We don't know the full details because this is kept. A lot of this is kept out of the way, and the only real things that we know is Dominic Cummings is what Dominic Cummings is saying, because he's the one that's given out statements to the press to people like Laura Kuenssberg. So arguments and rivalry in any Downing Street operation are not unusual. This feels different though, like a final act has started to play out after months of building tension. One insider, who until now has kept their counsel, spoke out in frustration. I just can't describe to you how much of a mess it is. I don't think that's Cummings. I think that's someone else, because Cummings wouldn't have said it's a mess. This is about who's running the country. It's not about whether a man who you probably haven't heard of has fallen out with a politician. The wider issues now is not just Mr. Kane's departure, Lee Kane, is the unhappiness it leaves behind. Anger about what has unfolded, shared by other key advisors like the Prime Minister's most senior aide, Dominic Cummings, and Brexit negotiator Lord Frost. And so basically what this is now it's become a house of cards, because now one of the key pieces is gone. The communications director is gone. He's gotten some guy called James Slack, who wrote the these judges are the enemy of the people, that picture. I'll throw that up now. That guy. So anyways, like I was saying, the wider issues now are what's it called, Dominic Cummings and the Brexit negotiator Lord Frost. So Dominic Cummings is leaving at Christmas, as far as we know. We don't know how true that is, but that's what's come out. So pinch of salt as always. So top Boris Johnson aide quits amongst infights. This is about Lee Kane. One of Boris Johnson's closest aides, Lee Kane, is leaving. He will depart next month despite being offered a promotion. His departure prompted speculation about the Prime Minister's Dominic Cummings stuff. We'll look at some Laura Kuenssberg analysis. This is more than just a random resignation. Oh, that's in the other article. So they've done two articles on. Anyways, Lee Kane, he followed David Cameron around in a chicken suit, which is just weird. So Dominic Cummings to leave Downing Street by Christmas. So Boris Johnson's most senior advisor, Dominic Cummings, is expected to leave. So not only is he losing his communications director, he is also losing his top advisor. And I don't know how close Lord Frost is to these guys, but it looks like Lord Frost might be in the mix at some point as well, but that's speculation on my part, but he's being mentioned a bit. So we'll crack on. Cummings told the BBC, rumours of me threatening to resign are invented after speculation this week, but he added that his position hasn't changed since his January blog, when he said he wanted to make himself largely redundant by the end of 2020. So what he wanted to do was implement all this change by the end of this year, because next year is the year everything that Cummings has put into place, bar the civil service reforms happening. Brexit will happen next year, and all of the mess it's going to create. It's going to be tremendous, and I think Boris Johnson, I can see him quitting partway into next year, halfway into next year. I can see him quitting. But this man, I think he doesn't want his prints on it, and he can come out and say, "Well, I would have done things differently if I was still in charge." That's what it feels like he's doing. Either that, or it's just the job's just gotten to him too much, and he wants to, retire in peace or whatever. A senior Downing Street source said Mr. Cummings would be out of government by Christmas. That's Cummings most likely, because who else would know that? BBC editor Laura Kuenssberg said there was no question the announcement of his departure was accelerated by turmoil. It comes after Lee Kane stood down. The pair are long-time colleagues, having worked together on the Leave campaign, so this is, they've been working together for 4 or 5 years, and I think it was Kane that got Cummings the job. essentially as a Boris Johnson advisor. Meanwhile, former Treasury advisor Sonia Khan, sacked after Mr. Cummings accused of being the leaker, has settled her unfair dismissal claim. So that's going to be an interesting one to check out. Vote Leave. Speaking to the BBC, Mr. Cummings denied that he had threatened to resign after Mr. Kane's departure, and instead pointed out that he had indicated his own plans nearly a year ago. So I don't think the two might not be mega linked, but I think this might be the final straw, really. And so there's some Laura Kuenssberg stuff. So there was one thread I want to talk about. So this is some analysis from Lewis Goodall, which is really, really good work here. Lewis Goodall is far better than Laura Kuenssberg. I feel like he should have. He works for for Newsnight. He should have gotten the promotion, I think, to senior political editor, because he's very good. So he put, so if Dominic Cummings is to leave at Christmas, the quite considerable political capital the Prime Minister spent over Barnard Castle, not to mention what many believe was quite considerable damage to public messaging, health messaging, was for roughly 7 months. So basically he's saying that the Prime Minister spent a lot of capital here and a lot of time dealing with the mess that Cummings made going to Barnard Castle. So Goodall saying, so either the Prime Minister really thought it was all worth it for Mr. Cummings' contribution for those 7 months, or it wasn't the plan for him to go all along at Christmas. In January, Mr. Cummings wrote his infamous Weirdos and Misfits blog, in which he stipulated candidates must be willing to commit to at least 2 years. Seems an odd thing to do if he plans to leave himself at Christmas, given that he's only been in the job for about a year and a half, I think, as the Prime Minister's aide. So it is very strange. It's very possible that what Cummings has done is he's like back updated his blog, if that makes sense. He's done that before, where if you use the something to do with a time machine on I sound like an idiot now, on a Google or something like that, you can find the old blog. But I reckon he might have updated his blog at some point on the sly to say he always planned to leave at January, by Christmas. So there. Although in retrospect, this is a line which stands out most super forecast. I don't want confident public school buffers. I want people who are much brighter than me, who can work in an extreme environment. If you play office politics, you'll be discovered and immediately binned. And so what he wants is a bunch of wackos, really. Wackos. And so here, Lewis Goodall, some great analysis here. You know, Laura Kuenssberg can learn a thing or two from Goodall. But the point being is that, you know, Boris Johnson spent a lot of capital over this, and it makes him look like a bigger idiot. And, you know, this mess, you know, COVID cases spiking, test and trace failing to reach reach about, I think it's about 40% of people in the space of 1 week. So 124,000 close contacts. Coronavirus cases spiking in the country. The death rate's still going up. I mean, the curve is flattening, but of course the deaths are going to go up because, you know, there's a lag. There's always a lag with new cases and deaths. You know, because you don't die straight away. It does take, you know, a couple of weeks. It takes 3 days for the virus to incubate, generally, and then you've got death, you know, shortly after that. So that's why the numbers typically lag behind. And also, you've got Brexit coming on as well, which is another huge mess, which we're not prepared for. That's a separate thread, though. That's a separate video. But overall, Director of Communications is gone. He's got some other joker to do the job. Cummings gone, potentially by Christmas. And if Lord Frost goes, then, you know, who knows what happens after that. That's going to be a real... That's going to be bad. But anyways, Downing Street drama. You know, this has all happened because he was offered a promotion. That Lee Kane was offered a promotion, and the new BBC, the new Downing Street spokeswoman, something Stratton, and Bojo's wife didn't want him to get promoted. It's just bizarre. What is going on? I don't understand. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.